everybody, this is Hua welcoming you back to my YouTube storytelling channel. I was away in Milwaukee for my beautiful niece's Miranda's wedding, and so I was not able to upload anything on my channel. But today I am back and I'm here to read chapter 4 of my treasured one. And beginning this week, I will be sharing some Halloween festival stories for you in light of our dark and spooky month. If you have any stories you'd like me to read or share, please submit it to my email listed in the description box. And so today, I invite you to sit back and relax to chapter 4 of Paying and Thong.
Colors of white and gray behind an empty space. Can't always tell what you're thinking, but now it ain't the same. On and on we said with us forever. You take me to
The softness of the blanket woke Paying, and she stirred, feeling the ache in her body, feeling as if she'd been trampled upon by a horse. Her throat burned, and her hands held cuts and scratches. The room was a strange one, a coral-like color with a shelf of little china dolls all lined up in a row. Before her was a woman who wore a cotton blue dress with her back turned toward her. She watched as the woman busied herself, but when she turned around, it was Abby. The woman's face lit up when she saw that Paying had opened her eyes. "Oh dear, thank the heavens! Are you all right? What in God's name happened to you?" She came to take her hand and helped her to sit up. Paying had retraced her steps, and it led her to the intruder standing behind her when the thunder flashed. "Someone was inside my home, ready to kill me," she whispered. They tried to take me, I think. Some strong odor to knock me out. I can't remember much anymore. Just that I needed to run." Abby touched her cheek. "You poor girl. I'm so glad that you're alive and that you came here, of all places. You will be just fine." Then Paying paused and looked at her strangely. Why are you here?" Smiling, Abby replied, "Do you remember when I said I used to be married to a man who left me with marks?" Paying nodded. "Well, Thong saved me from my death. He found me similar to how he found you. I came riding to his house in the middle of the night with a bruised spleen and a broken nose." "And the man? What happened to him?" "Oh, I killed him all right. He ain't ever waking up to hurt me again. I had enough bruises on me for the 5 years we've been married that the sheriff called it an accidental death. I was the curse of this town for a few months after that, but I was alive. It was all that mattered." Then she smiled softly and touched her arm. "And you will be fine too. This morning the sheriff sent his man looking for you. When the governor returned home to find it empty and full of a bloody fight, he was afraid somebody got to you, and they almost did. I think he's behind it," Paying said sternly. "Of course he is," Abby confirmed. "What perfect timing to be lying with someone like Willow while your own wife is on the prime target for death. I tell you, the whole town is now on your side. No one will vote for him again when the time comes, but then again, nobody else is more qualified to be governor than him, so I guess that makes him one lucky son of a bitch." Paying lowered her gaze, and then she looked up at the china dolls. Whose are those?" Looking at where her gaze was, Abby smiled and replied, "Oh, that belonged to his mother. She was a lovely woman who enjoyed collecting those kinds of things. She said it kept the home alive. The poor woman never recovered after the flu hit her and left the boy all alone. But Thong has turned around well despite losing both his parents. He's a good man. If the world has a shortage of anything, it's fine men, Paying." Are you two done? Thong's low and booming voice came from the door. He walked in, and Paying's cheeks flushed as he held a towel wiping his hands. He looked so domesticated, nothing like the farmer who came into town. Just about, Abby said as she turned to him. It smells good. I'll go set the table. She smiled at Paying and then left them as she struggled to move off the bed. He came immediately to attend her as she reached the edge of it. Their hands touched as she gazed up at his eyes. She shouldn't have, because she found warmth and an invitation that weakened her knees. Thank you, she whispered. Smiling, he replied, My home is here for your rescue, Paying. No one can enter without my permission. Tears filled her eyes as she thought about last night. I don't know why I came to you. I had nowhere else to go. I'm glad you came here, he whispered. This place is your haven. You shouldn't have gone anywhere but here. She felt his hands tighten around hers, and then she looked away, unable to gaze into his stare anymore. Tears burned her cheeks as she cleared her throat, trying to distract herself from the obvious heat that was coming from his presence. Well, thank you. I'm grateful, he chuckled. Say that one more time while you look at me. She lowered her eyes. I can't. Why not? Because I don't trust myself. He tilted her chin toward him and gazed at her. Good. I need you to unravel before me and quit lying about things unsaid. You don't need to hide from me, darling. If anything, tell me the truth and I'll give it all to you. He cocked his head an inch closer to her. What do you want? She let out a shaky breath, and then she allowed herself to be brave and looked right into his eyes. I want you. Smiling, he replied, Good. He reached out and lightly touched her cheeks. But you won't get me until you're healed, because you cannot take what I'm ready to give you right now. Thong was ready for it. He knew the governor would be at his doorsteps. The question was when. When he found her late last night, he was afraid she'd perished on his land. The state of her was frightening, and the blood was still seen where she lay on the ground. Immediately, he'd sent for Abby and had her come to clean and bathe her. He was angry, beyond livid, when he realized that her own husband might have been the one behind all of this. It was too obvious. He had made it public that he was heading with Willow to create an alibi, so everyone thought he was with her, but really, he'd been waiting for the perfect time to take out his own wife. The death of the young girl who had worked in a brothel rocked the entire town, and now the attempted murder on the governor's wife while he lay in the arms of a working girl, it was one event that was too uncoincidental. How convenient for a man like Chan, who wanted nothing to do with his wife. When the knock came and Chan stood at his door, he kept one foot behind it so the man couldn't push his way in. He didn't look the part of a worried husband. Good morning, Governor. What brings you to my neck of the woods? He smiled. I think you know exactly why I'm here. Word has it that my wife is occupying space in your home. If you'll kindly let me in, I'll grab her and we'll be on our way. Thong smiled and crossed his arms, making him appear bigger than usual. I wish I could do that. But Paying has insisted on staying, and as a host, I don't like to put my guests out when they plan on being here with me. Don't address her by name, Thong. She is my wife. Could have fooled me. Chan's face paled. And what is that supposed to mean? Thong let out a deep sigh. You walked with the working girl into the hotel last night, Governor, and left your wife alone. What makes you think you have the right to claim her now? She has been through hell and survived. And what right do you have on keeping her? She belongs to me. Or are you jealous that I got to spend the night with your Willow? Word in town is, she used to be your woman. Smiling, Thong replied, Key word here is used to. I am never jealous of someone who keeps misery in her bed. And the right I have is that she is my guest, and she doesn't want to leave. Safety is crucial for her healing right now, and she'll heal here. Chan's eyes filled with a deep hate and anger. I'm her husband. If you don't let me take her home when I kindly ask, I'll have to use force, and I'll call the sheriff. He'll come out here, and we'll get our way. Then you go right ahead and do that, Governor. Go call the sheriff and bring him out here so Payen can tell him all about the encounter with the masked man who tried to kill her while you were sleeping with another woman. Chan's face twisted with anger and eventually a losing streak as he backed away. He got on his horse and started riding out as Thong closed the door. He turned around to find her dressed in one of the pink cotton dresses Abby had brought over. She looked like a frail kitten, and his heart hurt. He reached over and took her arm, guiding her to sit down. He'll stay away for a while now. He won't have the courage to bring the sheriff over, Thong explained. Tell me, why are you with him? She lowered her gaze and whispered, My stepfather used me as a bidding reward. When she looked up, her eyes held the horror she'd endured. He wanted a project that Chan was in charge of, and I was the reward. If he allowed my stepfather a foot into that world, he could have me, and he ate it like no tomorrow. Where's your biological parents? Shrugging, she replied, I don't know. My mother has always been around town, and I can't remember much from my childhood. Only that she had several male partners, and eventually she stayed with my stepfather. She died and left me with him. I became baggage that he needed to get rid of, and Chan was the perfect answer. The two got him where he wanted to be, with a fine woman on his arm, and that was all he wanted in exchange for the right to govern a new town. She wiped the tears away. I don't know any other life, Thong. He touched her hand. Well, a new life wants you. You just tell me when you're ready and I'll hand it to you. She frowned and then laughed. Why are you being so kind to me? Aren't you afraid they'll stop buying your products if my husband insists? Well, if they do, then they'll starve. The closest town is a day's ride from here. They'll sell it to you, all right, but at a high price. I'm not afraid, Payen, and neither should you. You don't need to hide behind this name anymore. Are you still in love with Willow? The question came out of nowhere, and he blinked, astonished. She smiled and continued. I hate to be the rebound for any man, Thong. I don't want to get out of this. I don't want to get out of this marriage and then trap myself with another loveless one. I haven't proposed marriage, so I'm not sure why you're hesitant. I'm only asking you to pull yourself free from danger. And the first thing is to pull yourself out from his name. The rest will come easier for you. And where am I supposed to stay? How am I supposed to make a living as the governor's ex-wife? He'll drag my name through the mud even before I can blink, Thong. He watched her and then he asked, Do you love him? Now what do you think? She asked as she adjusted herself on the love seat. I don't think it's possible to love someone like Chan. He's too self-absorbed to allow anyone in his life except his own light. Do I love him? No, I don't. I never have and I never will. The many nights I have been with him, I wake up and wash myself until I'm near bleeding because I feel so dirty. He's not a man. He's a monster. Thong leaned forward and put his hand on either side for a blocking her in. Then get rid of his name. She let out a heavy breath. An unmarried woman in this part of town is frightening. I mean, just look at Abby. She's everyone's rumor every other day. I'm not strong like her. You don't have to be. Get rid of his name and pick up another's. Payen's eyes grew heavy with an emotion that made the tension between them unbearable. Whose name am I going to pick up? Mine, he whispered in a raggedy breath. Take mine. Let my name protect you. No one will touch you if you carry my name. He closed his hands around her wrists, keeping her in place, and then ever so gently kissed her lips. The gesture was soft, softer than he'd ever given because she was still healing. But she came back with a force that made him lose control, and his hands reached up to hold her chin. And when she moaned, He immediately regained control and let go. I'm sorry, he whispered. You make me fogged in my head. Is that a good thing? She asked breathlessly. Oh, yes, darling, he said. It is. Chan walked into the sheriff's office in a foul mood. It had been the perfect setup, and the sheriff had failed. The man had been able to do his job. He had one thing to do, and it was to get rid of Payeng. Now he was in a deeper hole than before, and the entire town was smelling his schemes. It wasn't going to be pretty. The sheriff wore black today. Better he did, to hide his wound. The cut from the scissors did a good number on his arm, and it wouldn't stop bleeding last night when he came to find him. But he'd done one good thing. He shot his wife pretty good, so at least then she was going to be staying out of sight for a while. You miserable fool, Chan said as Bailey looked up from where he sat. You're going to make me the talk of town. You had one job to do, and you couldn't even do it. Tell me why I continue to fund this town. Bailey sighed and lowered his head. I did not expect her to give me that good of a fight. You're a weak man. Bailey stood up and pointed a finger at him. Now hold on a minute here, Governor. You don't go around calling me weak when it's your wife you asked me to kill. If I were to speak about this, you'd be hung in public. But you won't be talking anything dirty, will you, Sheriff? Because you're just as dirty too if you were to open up your mouth. Bailey let out a frustrated sigh. Look, Governor, I tried, all right? I tried and I failed. Yes, I failed. Perhaps we can think of something else to do. Shaking his head, he replied, No, it won't work. It's alerted the caution of Thong, and my wife won't leave his place now for the fear of it. I think she knows I'm behind this. Bailey smiled. How could she not know? Willow was peeking from the window of her room last night while she was riding off on the horse. Chan paused, and then he turned to him. What did you say? I saw Willow's hand moving the curtains last night in her room, and I think your wife saw it too. You're going to have to get rid of Willow as well. Like how you got rid of the first one? Sheriff, the mayor of Arkansas is fuming now because his daughter has turned up dead in my county. If we get rid of another girl, it will likely be my fault since 2 murders have surfaced when I arrived. It's going to look bad on my resume, Chan said. Bailey rolled his eyes. It was an accident. The whore bit me and I lost control. I didn't mean to kill her. You just stay here in your little office and leave the rest to me, Sheriff. Bailey walked to him and shook his head. No. Here's what you're going to do. First, you need to get your wife off of Thong's ranch, and the town can stop whispering about you. Second, we got to do something about Abby because she's talking too much dirt. And third, we have to silence Willow. She witnessed something she shouldn't have. We have to, Governor. Otherwise, all you and I worked for has been for nothing. Payeng wasn't expecting to find Willow there of all people. The woman was wearing little clothing, and she felt shy suddenly just looking at her. But there she was, standing in front of Thong's ranch looking like she'd seen a ghost. It had been 3 days since she'd been found, and her body had been healing. The wound from the arrow had finally stopped bleeding, and the flesh began to work itself into a healing state. The salve Thong had been applying was working wonders on her bruises, helping them disappear faster than normal. You fit well on this ranch, Willow said. I never did. But you make it look very homey. What are you doing here? Payeng asked as she came out to the front porch. What do you want? Smiling, Willow replied, I just want to talk to you. You need to know something, and I'm scared that if I don't talk about this now, I may never be able to anymore. Fear settled into her heart, and she asked, What do you mean by that? Can I come in? No, came Thong's reply as he walked up from behind the house. You can't, but you can sit on the steps on the porch and speak what you need to. Willow's face showed the hurt from his words. Thong, it's important. Then you best be talking before the sun goes down, Willow, and get on your way. He came up and took Paying's hand, leading her to sit on the soft chair. And then he turned to Willow and crossed his arms. Talk. Willow let out a frustrated sigh, and then she cleared her throat. The governor is not who you think he is. Behind her attack was him, bound to set himself free from their marriage. And he wanted to go clean. But the sheriff failed his job. Thong straightened. What? Yes, the attacker, it was a sheriff. I heard everything they were speaking of. Greta, her death, was also the sheriff's doing. That's why the two of them are circling around with no answers inside. What does her death have anything to do with what happened with Paying? Willow let out a breath. Because her stepfather and Greta's father are the owners of Miller's oil rig. Chan and Bailey want a piece of that, and the only way is if they marry the two women. But Greta knew that and left town. And then she turned to Paying. You did not, and marry the devil. But with you alive, he gets nothing. With you dead, he'll gain everything. Paying felt her mouth go sour. So that was the reason for all this ruckus. She started shaking, and Thong reached over to hold her. She looked up at him, and then she stood, walking over to where Willow was. How do you play in this cat and mouse game? I don't, she said. I just happen to be pleasure in the dark knots. But 3 nights ago, I saw you riding off, and I saw the man who shot you. He'd taken his mask off, and it was a sheriff. If you saw it, Thong said. Willow nodded. I'm as good as dead, that's right. That's why I'm here to see you today before they get to me. I didn't know what I would be seeing when I looked out the window, but I saw you riding off. Paying let out a shaky breath. I saw the curtains moving. I thought it was Chan, but it was you. Chan had been gone from my bed a long time, but he used me as an alibi. The moment we got up to my room, he gave me a mild sedative. When I woke up, he was gone and it was late. We had done nothing together, Paying. She stepped forward. But you should get out of town while you still can. I'm leaving right now. I won't be staying. Where are you going? Thong asked. She turned to him, and her eyes gave him a soft gaze. What does it matter, Thong? It never seemed to interest you anyways. You can now forget me forever. Move on with your life, and you never have to worry about me staining your good name. You deserve a good woman, Thong, and I believe that woman is Paying. Then a tear dropped on her cheek. Goodbye. Wait, Paying said as she walked down the steps. She came forward and gave her a hug. Take care of yourself. Thank you. And you take care of Thong. Paying knew it would be just a matter of time before Chan came back to demand her to return. She'd heard from Thong that he'd been here yesterday and was forced to leave without her. This time he brought the sheriff, and the two arrived with smug grins. She felt sick to her stomach, knowing all that she knew. She'd been right. It was a play for power, and the oil company was a huge one that would make both of them filthy rich. She hadn't known her stepfather had her name in the shares, but then again there were a lot of things she was absent in knowledge about the man. But today, she saw her husband in a different light. She saw the man as a true enemy who wanted her to stop breathing. When he got off the horse and came toward her, Thong came from around the house and walked up to stand beside her. She purposely reached over and held his arm, and she saw Chan's gaze follow her reach. She waited for him to say something, but he just stared at her. The same kind of stare that used to bring on his abuse, as she was certain that if Thong hadn't been here, he'd show her how strong he was in the form of strength. Look at you, Chan said with a sneer. One moment, you're my dashing wife, and the next you're holding the arms of another man. How is this till death do us part? Do you not remember your vows, Paying? She smiled. And what about you? Did you remember them when you were beating me senseless? His eyes darkened and his smile disappeared. Come home, where you belong. No, she replied. I want a divorce. Not in my town, you don't, the sheriff said. You belong to the governor. She's not cattle, Thong said. She has made a choice, gentlemen. If you'll kindly leave the way you came, I'd be much obliged. Forgive me for disrupting your mood, Chan said as he came forward. In name, she's my wife. In body, she's mine. And in the eyes of God, she's my property. So if I am to leave here the way I came, she comes with me. Paying stepped forward. I am not leaving with you anywhere, Chan. You can take your lapdog back with you, and I'll serve you with the divorce papers. Lapdog? Bailey said, shocked. Are you speaking to me? You're the only one who barks when he calls. Bailey's face paled. Why, Mrs. Governor, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. And I could say the same for you, Sheriff. Helping to hide such dirty secrets in this town when you are supposed to uphold the law. What kind of man are you? He's not a man, Thong said as he smiled. He's just a little scared boy who likes to follow others around. Now leave, before I start to test how fast you can square dance with bullets flying. Don't you dare threaten me, Chan said with his teeth clenched. Oh, I'll threaten you any way I want. So long as you're on my property, you're a danger to me and my woman. Thong felt the air thicken with a desire that made it impossible to ignore. He was trying to distract himself with things to do, but when she lived in the same household, it was not easy. Chan and the sheriff hadn't returned since they visited 3 days ago. Abby had sent over some fresh clothes for her, and her body was returning to its normal state. It frightened him because the need to have her nearly drove him insane. He'd been trying to stay clear of her path, but the longer she stayed in his home, the harder it seemed to put her out of his mind. He didn't want to make her do anything she'd regret. In the eyes of heaven and the earth, she still belonged to another man. And he didn't want her to hate herself afterwards. She'd filed for the divorce papers as soon as the governor left the other day, but they'd had to drive to the next county and paid a hefty fee for out-of-county services. The clerk told her it would take at least 4 days for the telegram to arrive for pickup. One more day, Thong. Just one more day before it would be official. He found her hanging the sheets to dry in the wind, and she looked perfectly well in his place. It had been needing a woman's touch, and she had placed flowers around the house, making it come to life with simple touches. You shouldn't be working so hard. You're still recovering, he said. Turning around, she replied, Well, I can't just stay cooped up in the house all day. It'll drive me crazy. Besides, the south wind is perfect for drying these sheets. Thank you. Paying turned to glance at him and smiled. Why are you thanking me? It should be the other way around, Thong. Your presence here is enough to make everything calm in my heart. He reached out and took her hands, pulling her close to him. But before their lips could touch, he heard the sound of horse hooves and saw Abby riding up to the ranch. Abby, he called out. Her face was written with distraught as she got off the horse and came running over, her eyes gleaming with horror. Thong, it's Willow. Her body has been found, brutally tortured and dismembered. They found your dagger on her. They're looking for you right now. They're saying it's you. You have to get out of here. The governor and the sheriff is coming for you. Thong smiled and shook his head. So this is what it has come down to. Where is your proof besides the dagger? You need to leave. Now, Abby said. You should listen to her, Paying replied. He looked from one woman to the other and smiled. Ladies, if there is anyone who is afraid, it should be them. There is nothing they can do to me if they have no evidence. The dagger is there, but that's probably the dagger I gave her nearly a decade ago. It was a gift to her, and so I don't think they have anything on me. This is their scare tactic, and if I run now, I'll be doing the very thing they want of me. Thong, Paying said as she took his hand, I don't like the sound of this. You don't need to. But there's nothing they can do to me if they try anything funky. Hell, I haven't brawled in a few years. I can still test to see if I'm as quick as I used to be. But you, he said as he ushered her into Abby's arms, you go stay with Abby. I don't want you here when they come knocking. Why? Why can't I stay with you? Paying asked. Because, darling, You're my distraction. And if I have to worry about your safety and be smart at the same time, I fear I may lose in one of those areas. As long as I know you're with Abby, I can think straight. She watched him for a moment and then came to hug him, her arms holding him tightly. Her scent brought something wicked in him alive that had been felt for so long. He didn't want to let go. You can't disappear on me now, Thong. You have to be safe. Do you understand what I mean? Yes, ma'am, he whispered. I will be, because I intend to show you just how good you are to me. Thank you for tuning in. Chapter 5 will be out shortly.
Colors of white and gray behind an